Joshua, he's being tasked with creating a militia. That's like our Secretary of Defense. So Joshua's first mention, before we get to all this in Joshua, the book of Joshua chapter 8, he was a show-enough warrior, which makes what he does in the concluding parts of Joshua so much more wowing to me, amazing to me. So when we first encounter him, he's being tasked to form that militia, and he is fighting the Amalekites. So this is Esau's grandson. Anybody know who Esau is? Esau is the one that got tricked out of his birthright from Jacob, whose name then became Israel. Okay? So we need to know that. When you're reading Joshua, you need to remember the history in all these wars. So this is the very first fight out of bondage for the children of Israel. Remember, God took them a long way because God said, yeah, they ain't ready. It would be like us today. Talking about, y'all, come on, man, y'all got to go over there to another country, to Iraq, and fight. God's like, yeah, no, they're not ready. They're not going to do that. So I'm going to take them a long way. And so he did that because he knew they weren't able to fight the enemy. They weren't ready. So the Amalekites are the people, the very first one that God let the fight happen. So to me, that says they was ready. Because if he took you to it and took you around it and said, I'm not ready, but then he backs that thing up and says, now go, for me, that's like, I'm going to win this. Yeah. So if you're in addiction and you don't went to rehab 20 times, but God leads you back the 21st time, you're going to win that thing. You've been in love 59 times, and that joker was a sucker, and all men are dogs, all women are dogs. But that 55th one is the one that you're going to win with. That kid, I've been to, baby, listen, can I testify? I've been to Shawnee Heights Middle School about 20 times this year. But this is the thing. The 21st time I know is coming. I don't know when, but I know it's coming. And I'm going to be able to win this thing with Devontae, right? And so never forget that it doesn't matter how many times you got to go around it. When it's upon you again, you better warrior, which is my sermon title, mount up and do the dang thing. Because God is there to tell you and be with you and give you the victory. So never ever forget when you're reading these stories, get the context of the story. Don't just start in the chapter. You got to get the context. You got to know the history. You got to know what was happening. You got to know the principle, what God was saying. Because the principles in the Old Testament are principles today. They're part of the covenant. They're part of the law. So Joshua ain't never scared. They go fight this fight, which they won, by the way. And this is where we get God, Jehovah Nissi. God, Jehovah Nissi. Yeah. Y'all, all of our fights, we have a banner. We have God's banner of victory. Before he is Jehovah Nissi, though, y'all, he's just Jehovah God. Yeah. We got to remember all those attributes are secondary. He is Jehovah God. So it don't matter what we're going through, church. It doesn't matter what fight we're fighting. We have Jehovah. We have God on our side. So please, my first point, don't give up. I know it's hard. I know if they say one more thing, you're going to smack them. I know you're about to catch a case. I know you're tired. You want to walk away, but please, you have Jehovah Nissi, your banner. That's your victory. But more than that, you got Jehovah God. Jehovah God. Now let's pick up at Joshua chapter 8, verse 25 through 27. We're just going to walk through 25 through 35. But I'm not reading all the scriptures, but those I'll read, I will call out. Joshua chapter 8, verses 25 through 27. 12,000 men and women fell that day. All of the people of Ai, for Joshua did not draw back the hand that held out his javelin until he destroyed all. So Joshua, when the people fell, the children of Israel, Pastor laid that out, how they went in, their strategy. So everybody died. All of them fell. And Joshua did not draw back his hand that held out this javelin. Joshua was actually a standard bearer in this moment. And so I want y'all to see this. So we know the bio of Joshua. Joshua was a master warrior. That boy was about that fight. But in this fight, Joshua did this. He did this. Sometimes, y'all, though you are able to do that thing that you do, you are not supposed to be the one to do it. You're supposed to be the one to be the standard bearer, to hold out the light, to stand and be the example. I know the kids might not be acting right and acting crazy, but you, mother and father, can't stand and go do it for them. You need to stand, be the standard bearer, be the example, encourage, exhort, but what you can't do is intervene. Mother, father, sister, brother, I know we love our people, but sometimes, even though you can, you shouldn't. You need to stand there and be the standard bearer, be the light, be who God called you to be in that moment. But to do that, you got to drop your pride, because that would be like, I'm saying, okay, Pastor Hicks, I don't want you to pastor this church in this moment. I want you to go stack some chairs in the back. How many of us would be like, the devil is a lie? You know I'm pastor. You know I'm mother. You know I'm father. I'm not going to belittle myself to do that. No, boo-boo. The power ain't in what you do. It's who the power comes from anyway. So let's get that straight. You only doing what you do because he lets you do it. And if he wants you to stand when you know how to fight, baby, run up on me if you want to. But God says, Champagne, don't hit him. And I'm going to have to stand there when they cussing about us, when they talking about us, when we know they despitefully using us, when they doing everything they can, when they hate and the shade is just so dark. God's saying, Antioch, stand there. Be the standard bearer. You don't engage. You don't belittle yourself. You stand, and you stand tall in who I created you to be. You got to be able to allow God to use you how he want to use you. Not what your title is. Not what you good at. Not what your gift is. Baby, your gift is from God for the edification of the church. It ain't for you. It's for him and his glory. But no, that ain't what we do. We want the glory for ourselves. You better recognize that's what we do. And God's asking us to be a standard bearer, and we wondering why ain't nothing changing. We wondering why we losing all this fight. We wondering why everything God said about us really ain't jumping off. And the world saying, well, something wrong with your God. But God saying, something wrong with my kids, because they won't allow me to tell them what to do to win the victory.